Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. First of all, once again, I want to send condolences to the family and loved ones of Dwayne Haskins. Unfortunately, there's nonsense going on surrounding the reporting and the reactions to his untimely passing. And that's what I'm here to kind of lend an ear to or lend my opinion to. So that's what I'm here to do. Gil Brandt, uh, Hall of Fame NFL legend. I'm not familiar with him outside of that, to be honest with you. But what I can say is that this individual said some very nasty things about Dwayne Haskins today in response to his passing. Um, I've heard people speak like that before, where when somebody passes away, they're honest about them in such a way that is not palatable at all. Shouldn't be said out loud, and certainly shouldn't be said for the world to hear. And that's what these comments were. He essentially said some paraphrasing that he felt the kid Dwayne Haskins should have stayed in school, didn't have the work ethic, didn't have whatever. Um, and if he would have stayed in school, nothing, he would have more or less not found himself in any type of circumstance like this today, which is just I have no words for how egregious that notion is. Um, he said that Dwayne Haskins was to living to die or something like that, paraphrasing, but that was essentially what he was saying, that the individual was immature in such a way that led to him making bad decisions. And I don't think there's any place for that. There is no place for that. He started bringing up specifics about um, what Dwayne Haskins charged for his bowling party, as if that had anything to do with this individual in any way, and nor is that anything to even think about on a day like today. Um, just insensitive, man. And I understand that this individual is older. He's 90 years of age, and you know, sometimes it gets to a point where you need others to kind of help you understand and discern what's best to say and not to say, how to not be insensitive in times like this. And I think he needed people like that around him at this time to try to, you know, um, just help him understand that how much damage um, those comments were for his family to have to listen to, for his loved ones to have to absorb, for his fans to have to absorb. It's not the time and the place. It's never the time and the place to bash someone on the day of their passing. Um, and I think what I sensed in that man's voice was a sense of regret, some morbid regret. To me, initially listening to him, it sounded like he had been, uh, engaging in a little bit of liquid activities, is what I would have said. That's what it sounded like to me. But I guess he was on some type of podcast. So I don't know, but disturbing to me, honestly, just to listen to a man speak that way about a 24-year-old man who lost his life this morning, working on the craft that this individual is criticizing him for apparently not having the work ethic for. I think it's quite ironic that this individual is sitting here saying this about this man when he was coming from practice. So I just don't know the details of the situation other than to say I found a video on YouTube where a trucker just so happened to have um, his camera rolling and everything that was going on with his particular program. I guess had him on the road as a trucker, kind of responding to certain situations involving truckers, and he happened to stumble onto the scene um, and didn't know it was Dwayne Haskins. So that was the video I was able to catch up on. He just gave me a better understanding of what actually happened, and more or less, Dwayne was crossing the road after his car had run out of fuel, and it was a highway, man. And when you try to cross a highway, bad things can happen, and that is what took place. He was hit by a dump truck. Never had a chance. The truck decided, or didn't have a chance to react to. I don't know how the truth went, but um, to go straight head into him, rather than to swerve and take his chances with the dump truck going out of control on the highway. I don't know if it played out in that way. I just feel sorry for all people involved. I understand people who say he should have swerved. I understand people who say he shouldn't have. It's just too early and too soon to really even react. But all in all, this is a tragic day, and the last thing that we needed was to hear that from Mr. Brandt. That was his name. I'm sorry, it left me that quickly. Um, and then, of course, we heard from Adam Schefter as well, who's getting a lot of heat for how he broke the news, um, detailing uh, Dwayne Haskins' struggles, quote unquote, in the NFL. And when I read it myself, to be honest with you, I guess for myself, I took it um, as him detailing, you know, giving us some references to who Dwayne Haskins is, but I felt like that wasn't necessary at all, given the fact that Dwayne Haskins had made a hell of a name for himself in college. You would think he would refer to his stardom in college before referring to his struggles in the pros, especially since he's only been in the pros for 2 years. He's still basically a young player, so it's like, even if he struggled some, and granted those struggles have been well publicized because of his stardom in college. You know of Dwayne Haskins, and they talk about Dwayne Haskins because he was really, really good. It wasn't because he was a struggling player. So the fact that Adam Schefter chose to speak that way about him, and because this other individual chose to speak this way about him, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, about how we, and I say we because I'm a talking head, how we tend to speak about athletes and how we tend to speak about artists and people that are famous as if they're not human, as if they are assets to whatever it is that we're talking about. And a lot of times within the context of what it is we're talking about is in sports, it's necessary to speak that way, but it ain't as it pertains to, reporting on human situations, real human stuff. This is not you reporting on an NFL asset. You're reporting on a man. And if you can't report on a man with some sensitivity as to whom's going to be listening to and who loved him and who, the sensitive aspects of the situation, then you're not responsible enough to communicate such information to the people. And that's what I took from that was my whole takeaway from that. I thought Adam Schefter really gave us a look into what type of human being he is, and not having a sense of that type of need to be human in that moment. And I know a lot of times, it's shock value. A lot of times these guys, they do what it is that they do with the intent of getting a certain amount of attention, and they don't know when to turn that off or know that they should or care to or whatever that is. But in this situation, it's important that sensitivity be on the forefront of the reporter's mind. You don't want to offend, and you don't want to turn people against you, and that's exactly what you do in situations like this. So I'll be mindful of that going forward myself, and I was just disappointed in that entire situation. But all in all, it's just, as an African American man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. It doesn't feel too good to hear these things about a young black male, 24 years old, who loses his life from somebody, from white people. Just to be honest with you, it doesn't feel good to hear this, to hear from anybody, but definitely not white people. And I have to be honest about that. It hits different for me. I'm not speaking for nobody else. I will not speak for anybody else. I know a lot of times when people do this, I speak for all the black. No, I don't. No, heck no. I speak for no one but this guy right here. I don't like how they are responding to the death of a 24-year-old black man. I don't like it. It's once again one of that same energy that comes from, and I speak for in regards to Mr. Brandt's information or what it is that he said rather than Schefter's, but more so, it speaks to just if a black man isn't living up to the standard that they approve of, then they have nothing human to say about us. You know what I mean? It's like, he didn't live up to my standards. I thought he should have did this, and this, and this, and because he didn't do this, and this, and this, You know, what came his way. It's like, you do you speak that sensitive? Do you speak insensitively about everyone that way, or is it just this individual, just people who look like him? You know, you have to wonder. And given the fact that it's the NFL, and you know how I feel about the NFL and the energy surrounding the NFL, it just speaks to how it is for black people as it pertains to dealing with that entity, that energy, and that in the NFL. You know, I don't even have to say too much. I think those who know what I'm talking about will just nod their head and keep it going. But at the end of the day, that's the energy surrounding the. Ultimately, what I got from that man, it's just, you know, I didn't approve of him and his behavior, so therefore whatever happened to him is just, you know, we'll just drink it off. That was the energy I got, rather than having any sensitivity for those who actually cared about him, who did approve of him, who weren't looking for him to live up to their expectations or what have you. Somebody who just understood he was a 24-year-old man trying to figure out this world just like everybody else, with a lot of talent. And he was trying to take care of his family in that process. And if he didn't have the work ethic you thought he should have, or, you know, didn't throw the ball around the way you thought he should, or didn't stay in your school for as long as he should have so you can milk him of all the damn money that you NCAA, and I don't want to get into that. But let's just leave it. Let's just say that I don't approve of the comments made in regards to Dwayne Haskins as a human being. I didn't like none of that energy from either one of those individuals. I'm not saying they should be fired or given this or that. I don't get into all that. I just open my mouth and say I don't like that. I don't appreciate it. And that's that. That's that. So I just leave it at that. I'm sorry I forgot the individual's name. Legend from the Cowboys. Like I said, I had never heard of him until now. I think it was Brandt. So I said it right in the first couple minutes of the video. But at the end of the day, it's hard to properly respect that type of energy, that type of reaction to the death of a young man. It's hard to respect someone when that's your first introduction to them. I don't know him as a great football entity. I don't know even if he was a coach or a player or both. I don't know. But this is the first thing I'm going to know about this guy. So while he's sitting here saying what he's got to say about Dwayne Haskins, what he's going to realize is that a lot of people are going to be introduced to him based on those comments. And at 90 years of age, I wouldn't want to be remembered for that. Not at all. So that's what I have to say, man. My name is BDF44. Once again, my condolences to those who love Dwayne Haskins. I'm out.